This is Ask GMBN.
Yeah, you guys can ask us questions about mountain biking. You leave it in the comment section down below. You can use the hashtag AskGMBN, or you can send it to the email address ask@gmbn.com. So many options.
Let's kick it off with a couple of questions about crank length. Alexander Sewell asks, why do most mountain bikes come with cranks of 175mm, not 180 plus? Also, Juan Dinger, what's the best balance in crank length while still providing good clearance from pedal strikes?
I guess this all comes down primarily to when you're riding downhill. If you've got a longer crank and you've actually got it fully down and extended, then you risk actually hitting off the ground. I don't know about you, but I've been over the handlebars several times and I'm pedaling along, catch my pedal on a stump or a rock, and out you go.
Definitely, that's how I did separated shoulder number 1, actually.
What was number 2?
Number 2, that was just jet lag, of course, that one. GCN have done a video on crank length to see that actually it doesn't make that much difference. Yes, you have more leverage with longer cranks, but actually putting power to the ground it doesn't make much difference. So to be honest, I tend to go for 170, 175.
Yeah,
just for clearance.
For downhill, you see them going a lot lower, even down to 165. But in the terms of going up to 180 plus, well, maybe some roadies use 180, but definitely not one that I've seen in mountain biking anyway.
Okay, a training question from Richard Verdon. Is swimming good training for downhill?
I'm going to say yes. Cross training, doing something different, working some muscles. You've still got that rotation where you're using your arms, you've got core, and you're just doing a bit of cardiovascular work.
It's probably not quite down the power line that you will need for downhill, but I have used swimming for rehab, definitely for shoulders actually.
And knees.
Yes. Good, not weight bearing obviously. Okay, Marcus Merry, how do you travel on a plane with a bike?
Well, you can do it with a cardboard box, or you could do it with a bike bag, and it's quite easy. But the one question everyone always asks you at the airport is, what's in that bag? What's in that box? They're so surprised that you can carry this through an airport.
Yep. And you should check out our video on how to pack your bike into a box.
So lastly, you want to try and protect the main frame. What I'm going to do is just get this bubble wrap and wrap it around.
A question from TC Music. What do you guys use to film your videos? Do you use GoPro? If so, where do you mount it?
So we use GoPros, we do them on our head, we do them on chest cam, some on bars, been under the saddle before, been on the frame before, been everywhere. And then for a lot of the sort of higher quality stuff, I guess you could say, we use Sony FS5 and FS700.
That's correct. Next question, Casey Anderson. When judging speed for a jump, does weight play a role? He's a heavier rider, 250 pounds. If I judge my speed based on another rider who's significantly smaller, am I likely to come up short?
How are your physics?
I've got an A-level in physics.
Have you?
But I didn't do a question about jumps, I'm afraid. I think the speed should be the same.
No, I can tell you from experience. I actually did a little video with Jackson Goldstone. You might have seen it where he threw down. And following me into some of the jumps is actually really strange because my momentum would accelerate me up the jump, whereas he'd start to decelerate and actually be catching up to him much quicker.
And momentum is speed times power, no, speed times mass.
Let's just cut it there.
All right. Sylvie Gerasim, sorry about pronouncing your name. Can I do something special before riding in -10 degrees C?
Guess a little warm-up's going to help, isn't it? Make it a little bit easier. But in terms of your bike, well, suspension, we talked about that last week. Tires aren't going to be quite as sort of good in performance.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend warming up slowly onto the bike. It's going to take a bit of a while to actually get up to speed, I think.
I always find that my lungs hurt a lot when I start out when it's really cold. Until you get that cold air and sort of your body working, you can't go really hard. So just take your time and ease into the ride.
Okay, Russell Holland is a roadie and he wants to hit the trails for the first time and he wants a hardtail. Is a fat bike a good option?
Let's ask you.
I would say it actually is, yeah. They're really beginner friendly, you've got so much grip on the floor and they're a lot of fun, and you should check out our video on Are Fat Bikes Fun? Pretty cool really, but it just feels like I'm missing something. That's better. Okay, next question comes from Caden WK. If I want to do all kinds of riding, should I get an Enduro or an all-mountain bike?
Now, we were just talking about this, weren't we? Because what the description of Enduro really is, it's a racing format, so you've got the Enduro World Series, whereas all-mountain is kind of what an Enduro bike is. And all-mountain can go anywhere, can ride anything, so you can do big days, you can take it to the bike park as well. And I think there's a bit of a skew, isn't there? It's a
Yeah,
bit mixed.
I would maybe say Enduro would be the longer travel end of the scale of all mountain, but yeah, it's almost the same thing. So all mountain is going to be pretty good for everything, I'd say. White Tiger 28. Should I get a bike with 170mm front and 160 rear, or a bike with 160 front and 150 rear? Ooh, it's a tough one, isn't it?
It's only 10mm, isn't it? But I guess I ride a 170 with 160. And that works pretty well, I quite like it.
Yeah, it's a long travel bike, but these bikes pedal so well nowadays that it doesn't make that much difference really on the flat and on the uphills, so yeah.
Let's just throw in another option for them. What about 150 and 140?
I actually do like a short travel bike. They're a bit more nimble, a bit more fun, but horses for courses.
I don't think that really helped White Tiger.
No, sorry. Hydro Civ, does your top tube length decide on how short your stem can be?
Yeah.
It sort of does, doesn't it? Yeah, I would say yes.
So if you've got a longer top tube, then you can definitely have a shorter stem to sort of compensate, whereas if it's shorter, you might want a longer stem to give you a little bit more room to move around on the bike.
I would definitely prefer a longer top tube and a shorter stem, and that is the trend. It has been the trend for the last few years, actually, hasn't it, really? Bikes are designed to be longer. Dien Vo, what is preload on a coil fork?
That's when you wind the spring, so actually shortening the spring and making it a little bit firmer.
Yeah, so compared to an air sprung fork, when you've got an actual spring in there, like Scott says, you just wind in preload on. Sam Long, how do you clip in faster, especially on steep stuff and rock gardens?
I'm going to say this really comes down to practice and sort of understanding where the cleat is on the pedal to where it clips into the pedal itself. Because once you've got that feeling, it starts to become really natural. You can actually find that you can unclip really fast for a turn and then stamp it back in, but it just takes practice. So get out there and maybe just make a little slalom rut track where you want to take your foot out, clip it back in, then hit the next one and get a series going.
I would also say practice your track stands. So if you're trying to drop into something steep, track stand a little bit and I'll put my front foot in, and then so I'm resting on the chain, and then I'll clip in with the back foot, and off we go.
We've got a full video on this with some tips, so check that one out, and there you go. With my dominant leg now clipped in, I'm ready to put my other leg in. I'll push down a little bit and get balance. Once my feet are even, I'll be ready to go. Make sure that before you roll down the trail, both your feet are clipped in.
The quickfire round. Dick Whittington, why is the N on the GMBN logo not a capital like the rest? He's just noticed it and it annoys him.
I'd only just noticed it after Dick noticed it too, and I've got to say, I don't know.
Well, it kind of matches the M, doesn't it? So I guess
the M and N are different letters.
That is true.
They come after each other in the alphabet though.
Oh, that's true as well, yes. Knick-knack, 2 N's in a row. Do you add more air into your forks to make it stiffer?
Yes.
Correct. Jacob Harkins, do you need to use a shot pump to pump up a fork, or you can use a normal pump?
I guess you could use a normal pump.
I don't think you can.
No, you can. I know you can.
Oh, well, we'll have to agree to disagree.
It's very fast, so you have to be very careful. Just like one pump and then your forks are full.
Google account, pro tip, reduce weight by filling suspension and tyres with helium? Question mark. I don't know if that works. Does that work? Well, we'll carry on.
I just put it in there just because I thought it was a good one. Maybe someone can tell us in the comments.
Yeah, right, keep going. Beppe Pace Mercier, why does Neil have an alcohol problem? He's always talking about the pub.
Why do you have an alcohol problem?
I don't have an alcohol problem. I enjoy going to the pub and having soft drinks. Adel Eunice, please answer this. Are folding mountain bikes okay for trails, bunny hops, jumps, etc.?
Never tried it.
I would say no.
Imagine if it just folded as you bunny hopped onto the curb.
I've never seen a folding mountain bike. I've seen folding road bikes.
But I don't think he's asking about. I think he's just asking about folding bikes and can you bunny hop them?
You probably can be, wouldn't you?
So the answer is yes, but no.
Okay, time for Correct Me If I'm Wrong, where you send your videos in, we take a look and give you some advice. This one's come from Kai Wilson. He's 15 years old, from Australia, and he's riding some dirt jump. He wants to know how he can go higher.
I think for this one, he could come in a little bit slower, pump it a little bit harder, and really just use that lip to get as much airtime as he possibly can. But he's got a pretty nail.
Yeah, that is pretty high to be fair, but he's saying that he's starting to land too far down the landing. So yeah, go slower and just pump harder. But nice one, that's really cool.
And then he's got another Correct Me If I'm Wrong, and he wants to know how he could whip bigger. So, what are your tips?
It looks pretty good actually. It's kind of, you could do with maybe turning off the jump almost a bit more. So when you hit the takeoff, almost point off the jump and turn back onto it rather than hitting the jump straight and then trying to whip. but it's not bad.
I think as well though, with that jumper, it's quite a hard one because you can't really turn up at that much. You've got so little space.
Yeah,
so
you need
struggling.
a wide grippy takeoff is really going to help with your whips. But nice one. Keep sending your videos to ask@gmbn.com.
So there you go, another edition of Ask GMBN. And if you enjoyed this video, then if you haven't already, why don't you click subscribe right here because you'll never miss a video. And if you want to see some more videos from GMBN, click right here for how to whip.
And right over here for 7 suspension setup mistakes.
And there's only one thing left to do.
Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed Ask GMBN.